Hello everyone, please press subscribe, press follow, press the bell so you don't miss any new clips. Adorable treasured fox divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Author by Co Chi Yi. Audio novels by Novelist. Chapter 241, Too Familiar to Make a Move 1. If I remember correctly, that Nangonglin was born on the same day as little Xiaocan, right? It can't be. Did that boy take credit for little Xiaocan's achievement? Chu Yi was fast to catch on to the truth. For this, there's bound to be a good show awaiting everyone in the near future. Sister-in-law, I won't forgive those bastards. How dare they misuse the name of the demon beast? In the past, when her elder brother came into this world, the scenario was exactly the same, hence the reason why Xuanhuan would be so certain it's not Nangonglin. Then again, it makes perfect sense when the boy was but an ordinary human. The more she thought about it, the grumpier she became. If Nangongyi and his family were to be here right now, it's not out of the question that Xuanhuan would strangle each and every one of them on the spot. Xuanhuan, there's something I like to ask you though. Pricking her brow, Chu Yi grew suspicious. Why would Xiaocan's birth rile up the animals of this world, and why would you know that? Of course I would know. It's because Xiaocan is. As much as the girl wanted to tell the truth, a very firm hand had cupped her by the mouth, refusing to let her speak. Things that shouldn't be spoken is best not said. Bai Yan sounded almost emotionless there as she eyed the confused girl. As freaky as that attitude was, Xuanhuan simply didn't get it and required more hinting. You can't tell anyone about my son's identity. Lowering her mouth up to the girl's ear, Bai Yan used a voice that could only be perceived by them both. First it was shock, then understanding before Xuanhuan flung her head up and down in acknowledgement. As dumb as she was sometimes, not even she would be so clueless as to not understand what Bai Yan was implying now. Bai Yan, are you hiding something from me? Puckering her lips unhappily, Chu Yi asked with grievance in her voice. Yi, there are some things that I can't tell you yet. Knowing this might be hurtful to her friend, Bai Yan sounded apologetic in her reply. Just as she wanted to say more to console the poor girl, Bai Yan's view was caught by the white teenager coming their way. Happy at the sight, she readily greeted the boy first. You're back, brother. How did it go with that friend of yours? Is he fine now? According to Bai Xiao's explanation to Bai Yan, he had met this friend back when she had left home without a word. Due to this, he searched far and wide and even nearly lost his life in an accident. If not for that friend, Bai Xiao would have perished long ago. Sister, he is all right now. Bai Xiao's usually cool attitude grew warmer as he turned to face Xuanhuan. Sister, this girl is. The boy knew who Chu Yi was, so he didn't need to ask about her, but Xuanhuan was another story. She's Daikang's sister. Bai Yan was very direct there, leaving Xuanhuan a tad displeased. Instead of introducing me like that, I would rather you say I'm little Xiaocan's aunt, her cheeks puffing up like her unhappy child throwing a tantrum. Xiaocan's aunt? Revealing a flicker of surprise, Bai Xiao's astonishment only lasted for a brief moment before returning to normal. Miss Xuanhuan, I understand then. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Bai Xiao and Bai Yan is my sister. Not being timid at all, the girl readily stepped over to pat the boy on the shoulder. Hee, you are my sister-in-law's brother. That makes you my younger brother too. Don't worry, sister here will look after you, so feel free to do whatever you like in this world. Now this was simply too much for the poor boy. He's never had a girl be so friendly to him before, so he didn't know how to react to this passionate maiden. Chapter 242, Too Familiar to Make a Move 2. Xuanhuan, stabbing his hands against her waist, Chu Yi stomps over to her foe and states her claim. Cao already has me to watch over him, he doesn't need you. And why is that? He and I are family, while you are but an outsider. Proud in her demeanor, Xuanhuan cheekily fights back. You. Flushed from frustration, Chu Yi resorts to using her body instead to shield the boy. You know, if you keep acting so informal around him then he might get frightened. Confused by how the two were acting around him, Bai Xiao's first instinct was to turn to his sister for help. Sure enough, Bai Yan's face had gone dark. Yi, Xuanhuan, do both of you want to be kicked out? Upon hearing this threat, both girls were fast in their reaction as they jolted backwards. Hee, sister-in-law, me and Yi are only building up our friendship, nothing to worry about. Yes. Nodding fast, Chu Yi gives the other girl a big hug to showcase their goodwill. Didn't you say you were treating me? Let's go now. Without another word, she promptly snatched the other girl up and dashed for the doorway. Meanwhile in the background, Bai Xiao was utterly speechless. All he could do was sigh because he can already see how unruly these two were. It's likely only his sister would be able to tame them. Brother. Turning around to the boy, Bai Yan revealed a wonderful smile. I haven't checked on your strength recently. Let's go. We will practice now. Okay. Like her, Bai Xiao also wanted to spend some quality together. Ellipsis. This peaceful time didn't last long though, only an hour before a firm and possessive figure swooped up from behind Bai Yan while she was watching her brother practice. Then before she knew it, her body had been pulled into a gentle embrace. Maybe it's due to how often this occurred, Bai Yan didn't resist at all. Instead, she only raised her eyes to ask while smiling, "You're back?" Dai Kang's voice was very stern there. I came back as soon as I got your letter. So where is that girl? Have her crawl out here to see me. Hearing the unabashed fury in the man's attitude, Bai Yan swiftly turned around to grab at his collar. Did you forget what I said to you? You want to help her? Narrowing his eyes, a flash of danger could be seen there. Yes. Not flinching or turning away. I want to help her. It's not for anything else, merely because Bai Yan can see the shadow of her brother's image in Dai Xuanhuan's back. Raising an evil smirk, Dai Kang's horrible habit was acting up again. Fine then, I won't stop you. However, every time you help her though, you have to let me mount you once as payment. Seeing the undisguised lust in the man's eye, Bai Yan merely lost her grip and fell backwards. You were so shameless. Isn't it fine when I'm only being shameless at you? Not going to let his prey get away, Dai Kang pulls her back in and gives her a heartfelt smooch on the lip. Thankfully only the two of them were left alone in the training room, otherwise this will be quite the embarrassing scene. As for Bai Xiao, he had long ran away to give the pair some space after seeing Dai Kang's arrival. I've always wanted to ask you Yan, are you poisonous? Using that husky voice of his after releasing those lips, Dai Kang was no different from a drug addict right now. Since the day I kissed you, I've fallen deeper and deeper for those lips of yours. Chapter 243, Too Familiar to Make a Move 3. Feeling those cold slender fingers flowing across her lips, Bai Yan could not resist shivering at the touch. Dai Kang, it can't be that you've really fallen for me. Fall in love with her. The man didn't reply right away because there had been no shortages of female bodies swarming around himself over the years. Yet, not a single one could evoke his emotions like her, nor could he comprehend what love was supposed to mean. But everything's changed now. Since the day he's savored that flavor from her lips, his heart yearns for her, so much so that merely a day would feel like an eternity in his heart. Does that equate to love? He honestly don't know. Getting nothing but silence, Bai Yan can only take that response as a no. Smearing, she breaks free from those arms. Dai Kang, if I were to marry in this life, it can only be with the one who I truly have feelings for. If you don't have me in your heart, why do you keep haunting me? Is it because I'm Xiaokan's mother? This has nothing to do with our son. I only want to marry you because you are you, nothing else. I want to marry you because you are you, nothing else. So you are saying I must marry you because you want me to. Now there's a hint of derisiveness in her smile, almost like she's mocking him. Of course you can only marry me. If you dare to marry any other men, I will break their legs until they can no longer even run. Still dominant and overbearing, the man's attitude left no room for refusal. As for you, forcefully grabbing that tender wrist, Dai Kang's tune was turning dangerous again. Although I want to tie you up and keep you by my side forever, but I can't bear to hurt you. So, I can only watch from behind, but that doesn't mean I will just sit idly by while other men runs around you. If I see one, then I will destroy one. If I see two, then I will destroy two. Afterwards, I like to see if there will be anyone else who would dare come seduce you. This time Bai Yan can no longer suppress her trembling body, this bloody pervert. Just wait, once my strength grows high enough, I will ruthlessly pay you back. Sister-in-law. Suddenly, a voice drifted over from the front, thus drawing Bai Yan's attention back into reality. It was Xuanhuan running in from the outside. At first the girl's complexion was very red, like she's excited over something, but upon seeing who was beside Bai Yan, the poor girl looked like she had seen a ghost and jerked to a halt. Brother, what are you doing here? Dai Kang broke out into a laugh at the question, a very devious and sinister laugh that gave chills to anyone who heard it. In fact, it was even giving Bai Yan the shivers. Imagine what it must be like for the poor maiden. Xuanhuan. As soon as the man mashed out that name, the frightened girl instantly collapsed like someone losing their very legs. Brother, I am wrong, she cried, fearing for her dear life. Why is brother so much scarier after only a few years apart? Do you know how much trouble you've caused? Raising a threatening smirk, because of you forcefully breaking through the seal, someone else had followed you through and came into this realm. Now, tell me, how should I punish you and state teacher? Going white in her face, Xuanhuan was surprisingly defensive when the conversation involved the latter. Brother, this is my own idea. You mustn't involve him. State teacher doesn't deserve to be punished. Still cold in his attitude, Dai Kang won't have any of that. Without him, would you be able to break the seal on your own? Growing weaker in her voice until it became a meekly squeal, Xuanhuan remained stubborn. Nevertheless, you mustn't bully him. If you must punish someone, then punish me. Chapter 244. Too familiar to make a move for. It seems your relationship with state teacher is really good, eh? His voice still cold and dismissive. Why don't I make a decree and have you two married then? What? Xuanhuan hurriedly jumped up to refuse the proposal. I don't want to marry yet. Brother, you can't be so cruel to state teacher and me. Why not? I thought you liked him very much. Dai Kang coldly snickers. I am too familiar with state teacher. It's not good to make a move against someone I'm acquainted to. It's either you choose to marry state teacher, or it's me roping you up for a beating. Pick one. His words are as domineering as ever. It's almost like the girl in front of him wasn't his sister at all. Brother. Her face pitiful. Can I not choose neither? Laughing at that question, Dai Kang initially wanted to refuse but was stopped by a strong stomp on his feet. Don't fuss. His brow furrowing into a knot. Wait until I finish lecturing her, then we can have some alone time. Maybe he didn't notice it himself, but Dai Kang's voice was especially gentle here. Unhappy over the dismissal, Bai Yan retracts her feet to mercilessly stare at the man. Get out of here. You're being naughty again, Yan, beaming a smile. Just wait a bit longer, then I will play with you. By this point Xuanhuan was already popping her eyes in disbelief, so much so that she can't even speak properly. Is this really my cruel and tyrannical brother? When did he start being so good-natured around someone? I've told you, if you dare beat her then you are to scram. Looking at Bai Yan's stern and serious face, Dai Kang's expression promptly sank. You are being serious, aren't you? Of course. Likely it's due to the last remark, but Dai Kang's mood had become ever worse, like he's moping and grumpy at the same time. Swinging that stern face around, he narrows in on the nervous girl. You can scram now. Looking up at the aggrieved face of her brother, Xuanhuan had trouble pairing the one here to the one in her mind. So does that mean I'm off the hook now? Why are you still sitting there for? Seeing the stupefied girl still hanging around, Dai Kang hurries his sister to move along with that cold damp voice of his. Now this was great news indeed for the bratty girl. Fleeing like her dear life depended on it, Xuanhuan didn't want to look back even once, afraid the man would change his mind and snatch her back for a beating. Looking at that departing back, Bai Yan was a little taken aback by how fast the girl ran. Before she knew it, a seductive yet possessive voice had drifted into her ears again. I've never beaten her, ever. Ha! Bewildered by the comment, Bai Yan turns to the source with confusion in her eyes. The words I made were only meant to frighten her, his brow still stuck in a frown. Is he trying to explain himself to me? Bai Yan blinked with astonishment in her eyes. This girl is not only stupid, she's also lawless and unbound. If I don't take extra precautions to lecture her, no one will be able to manage her in the future. Why are you telling me this? Because I don't want you to confuse me for a cold and heartless person who won't recognize family or friends. The him from the past would have never cared for anyone's view on himself. So what if he's cold and heartless? So what if he's cruel by nature? So long as Bai Yan doesn't think so, then that's all that matters, that what matters to Dai Kang. Subconsciously, she looked away, afraid to meet those eyes which her heart shiver with emotions. I'm sorry, I've misunderstood you. Back when I learned of you leaving her alone at home for several years, I selfishly assumed she would be like my brother, hurt and wanting your attention. I didn't think your punishment is meant to be for her own good. Chapter 245, Demon Beast Sect 1. Dai Kang immediately dismissed the idea with his sneering laugh, as if she would do that over something so trivial. Her mentality isn't that weak, otherwise she would have committed suicide dozens of times already in the past. Shooting her eyes up, Bai Yan's first thought was this: is she really his sister? The biological type? In this moment, her sympathetic heart came pouring out. With a brother like that, how can anyone keep their sanity? I'm hungry now. While Bai Yan was still stuck in her deep thought, Dai Kang's low and possessive voice suddenly came from one of her ears. Your home may be destroyed, but that doesn't mean your cooks are. If you want food, then have them make it for you, her face running with dark lines. Acting as if not able to hear her, Dai Kang continues on with his rambling. I heard your cooking is one of a kind in this world, is that right? Dai Kang, do you want me to taste your cooking, or devour you here and now on the spot? Inhaling deeply to calm herself, Bai Yan had to take a second. Fine, consider it your win. Giving the shameless man an angry glare, she stomps towards the kitchen in defeat, leaving behind only the victorious Dai Kang in the background. Ellipsis. Inside a certain bedchamber, Xuanhuan was currently brooding over the possible countermeasures at her disposal to face off against a certain menacing figure. But before she could come up with a plan, a powerful set of legs had kicked open her door. Due to how sudden this all came at, the girl literally rolled off her bed in a panic. Watching that dangerous man strolling up to her, she instinctively gulped to calm her nerves. Brother, didn't you promise to let me off the hook? So why is he coming to make trouble for me again? Xuanhuan wanted to cry. There's no doubt in her mind that if her sanity was any weaker, she would have gone insane by now. When you left the demon realm, did you see a snake girl? Snake girl, still lying there on the floor, she looks up in surprise. You mean the Snake Clan's King Luan? No. When I came I didn't see her. Can it be difficult that petty woman also followed me to this realm? Xuanhuan's heart was pumping hard right now because she now understood why her brother would be throwing such a big temper. Not getting the answer that he wanted, Dai Kang's face turned extremely dark, like a thundercloud was hovering over his head. This instantly causes the girl's very teeth to clatter due to fear. When are you going to scram? His face still devoid of emotion as he asked. Fending off that horrific aura, Xuanhuan steels her nerve to fight back. No. I don't want to go back. It was so hard to be able to see my sister-in-law and nephew. I'm not leaving. Now this only added fuel to the fire because Dai Kang's sinister smile just grew even more sinister. If you don't want to scram, then you must promise me two things. What promise? Yan is still unwilling to marry me. You must help me convince her. Now this was a surprise indeed for the girl. Instead of shivering in terror there, she instantly shoots her head up to face her brother. So what Chu Yi said is true. My brother still haven't settled sister-in-law yet. Now, he's asking me for help. Daikang's tone here was obviously in order, but to the delusional girl, it somehow became a plea for help. Pride filled her beautiful face. Brother, it's not a problem to help you pursue sister-in-law, but you should at least show some sincerity when asking for help, shouldn't you? A ray of sunshine lit her eyes. Still cold in his demeanor, Daikang's attitude was clearly less intense though. Then what sincerity do you want? Chapter 246, Demon Beast Sect 2. This. Twirling her eyes around, it took a short moment of thought before Xuanhuan could come up with her demands. First, you cannot scold me anymore no matter what happens, nor can you randomly do matchmaking. In addition, you must have little Xiaocan accompany me in my sleep for 29 days a month. Oh yes, you must raise state teacher's position after you go back. Now Daikang's smile only got even colder. State teacher's position is already second to the royal family. If you want him to go higher, he will have to become a royal bridegroom then. Now this was unexpected for the girl. Is that so? In that case then you only need to not randomly do matchmaking for him, nor are you to make him a royal bridegroom. Is this your request or his request? Going pale in her face, Xuanhuan nervously replied, it's mine. I only wanted to get some benefits for him back at home. Using his monstrous aura, Daikang presses in on the girl until an intense unease gripped that frightened face. Brother, what are you doing? A gentleman doesn't use their hands, only the mouth. You can scold me but you can't beat. Trembling right down to her knees, she could barely keep her tears from flowing outward. What other request do you have? Say it all now. No matter how dumb she was, there's no way Xuanhuan would not know by now that her brother was angry. Because of that, she can barely churn out her words properly. You not talking anymore? Daikang coldly smickers a dangerous laugh. Upset by the tease, Xuanhuan finally fights back. You can't deceive me just because I'm dumber than you. I now have sister-in-law and my nephew. If you try to drive me away then I will tell them. I know they will kick you out of here too if you do. Then not only will you lose my help, they will also ignore you forever. That's right. I have sister-in-law backing me. What am I afraid of? With this in mind, Xuanhuan puffs out her chest with a renewed vigor to her demeanor. However, Daikang's next sentence instantly shattered her courage. If Xuanhuan isn't my wife then that would mean she's not your sister-in-law. If that happens, Xiaocan wouldn't be your nephew either. These words were like thunder, zapping the girl till she's stupefied. How can I forget something this important? If sister-in-law doesn't marry my brother then there's no connection. If no connection then no nephew. If no nephew then no adorable baby to cuddle. No, this will not do. Brother, I will help you. Xuanhuan's spirit had flared up. Vowing by patting her chest, she puts on a confident face, I will watch over sister-in-law and persuade her to marry you. Making an emotionless nod, Daikang continues, the second thing I want you to do is protect your sister-in-law and nephew while I'm away. Deflating until her voice became a murmur, she weakly replied, I don't know why brother, but after I came to the mortal world my powers had diminished to half of what it was. Having me protect someone as powerful as sister-in-law, aren't you making it difficult for me? It's one thing if she's to protect her nephew, but by Yan. More like it's the other way around. After the snake girl came into this world we had lost track of her whereabouts because she used some kind of secret method to mask her scent. Not even Fire Plume could track her. However, if she draws too close, you on the other hand will be able to detect her. Brother, don't worry, I will stay by their side at all times. Chapter 247, Demon Beast Sect 3. Xuanhuan was packed full of spirit because she knew very well that Snake Woman had been eyeing her brother for hundreds of years. If not careful, it might give that King Luan's Snake Girl an opportunity to try something sneaky. Remember your words. If Xuanhuan and my son is hurt in any way, you will be the first one I come looking for. Leaving behind only this much, the man then left with a satisfied smirk and stunned his sister in his wake. Am I really his sister and not someone picked up off the street? Maybe it's due to being accustomed to this cold treatment. Xuanhuan only experienced a minute of sadness before she consoled herself back to the norm. So what if brother don't dote me? In future I will have sister-in-law, who needs him then? Princess, princess, it was at this moment a young chirpy voice came from the window's ledge. This belonged to a black-naped oriole bird that only just arrived here. Yellow, how did it go with the investigation? The oriole known as Yellow quickly flew over to the girl's shoulder at the question. Princess, is it possible to change my name to another one? No matter what, I'm still a young girl, you know. The female oriole protests in dissatisfaction. Coining a name is too troublesome. You know I'm a lazy person, yet you still want me to give you a name. She gives the bird an eyeful. Yellow, what sort of sinister scheme are you plotting? Completely taken aback by this, the little oriole bird was full of grievance here. All she wanted was a good name and nothing else. Why did it devolve into a plot to murder the princess? This is too wrong. Tell me the stuff I want to hear first. Grinning in her mouth, Xuanhuan was pleased with herself. It's best you not listen, princess. I'm afraid you might die from anger. Me. Die from anger. Scoffing a laugh, she dismisses the idea outright. If my brother couldn't do that, then what makes you think others can? Hurry and tell me what's going on. Yellow faced the girl with unease. Nevertheless, she continues, in the end, I was just at that crown prince's home, and guess what I heard? That man and his wife is currently discussing on how to turn the queen into the man's concubine. They also said, what else? Xuanhuan's chest was huffing rapidly. They also claimed our demon realm's little prince only has looks with no brain. Not only that, they also want to turn the little prince into a slave for their son. Oh yes, that Nangongyi crown prince also said her queenship is a stupid woman who will fall for any sweet talk like her mother. From the very beginning, Xuanhuan only intended to investigate the matter regarding Mangong Lin, fat bully, and why they say he's capable of ordering the animals. However, what she got instead was this load of farce and infuriating nonsense. Naturally, her anger wasn't directed at this poor bird, it's at those two shameless pair. Princess. Seeing how huffing and puffing the girl was, the bird appeared worried. I've said it already that you will die from anger. Why must you seek to be tortured? Indeed, Xuanhuan was very unhappy over what she heard. Spending a good while to recover from her outrage, she glared at the bird. Then why are you coming back here for? Yellow didn't even get to finish her words before tragedy struck. Chapter 248, Demon Beast Sect 4. Following one swift slap by Xuanhuan, the poor bird only knew she was flying out the next second until she slammed face first into the nearby door. Helpless and disorientated, poor Yellow slowly slid to the ground like a beaten fly. I'm here to tell you, her voice very weak, I've discovered the secret behind that animal worship business. It's that by Ruo who intentionally had her people spread the word to the public. Having finally finished her report, Yellow then rolls her eyes and fainted away. This time the bird was honestly lucky to have come across by Ruo talking with her confidant. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to return so soon. Oh no, Yellow. Pouncing over to the door, Xuanhuan nervously picks up the poor bird in a gentle fashion. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Please don't die. I promise I won't call you Yellow from now on and instead call you Little Yellow. Fortunately, the bird was still unconscious here, otherwise she would have really died from choking at that outlandish statement. Seriously, what sort of difference was there between the names? Princess. Stirring from the weeping sound of the girl that kept flailing her around, the poor bird slowly came to due to necessity. I'm okay. I'm not dead yet. I'm just hungry. Talk about changing fast. Upon hearing the bird's okay, Xuanhuan instantly reverted back to her plain old self and left the bird to her own bidding on the floor. So you're not dead. Talk about wasting my emotions. Reaching out her wings in grievance, Yellow cries with a tearful plea in her voice. Princess, I'm hungry. If you're hungry, then go scavenge for food, don't look at me. Having said this, Xuanhuan promptly stomps out of the room and ignored the starving bird in the background. For the bird, all she can show now was a regretful tear. Regret ever listening to the princess, and regret ever coming to this mortal world. At the very least she could have been fed by the palace maids back home even if the princess wasn't around. Ellipsis. In this world, the southernmost mountainous valleys of this continent was a very dangerous place. Rampant with demon beasts of all kinds, carnivores and herbivores alike, it's an ideal training ground for beast tamers hailing from various backgrounds. Specifically the tamers from the demon beast sect. Based directly inside this dangerous terrain, the sect was similar to the medicine sect and Holy Land in nature. Issue though with this school was their lack of exceptional talent, forcing this power to remain in the mundane league and unable to proceed further up the ladder. Someone come, have first elder come see me this instant. A middle-aged man yells out the order after abruptly breaking out of his meditation. This person was none other than the current sect leader of the demon beast sect. Before long, an otherworldly-looking elder had come rushing in after getting the word from a follower. Respectful in his bow, the elder asks, "Sect leader, have you perceived through the heavens and determined the source of that event yet?" And of course, the mentioned event here would naturally be that worshipping incident by the animals during Xuanhuan's birth. For the members of the demon beast sect, they are the one hit the hardest because they do live at the very depths of this mountainous valley. That's correct. Fang Yufeng's lip had angled into a smile. Through the 5 years I've been in deep meditation, I've finally grasped enough of my heavenly skill to allow myself to pinpoint the child's whereabouts. I now know where to look. The first elder was quivering with excitement now. Raising his old head, the elder showed a surprised face of jubilation. "Sect leader, is what you say true?" Fang Yufeng confidently nods to reaffirm his answer. "Due to my inability, I'm unable to give the exact location, but I can say for certain it's inside the kingdom of Lu Huo." Lu Huo. Chapter 249. Fight together enough and they will be friends. 1. The elder wrinkled his old brow. 5 years ago after that event, there's been a rumor going around that the son of the crown prince from that kingdom is the destined child. Can it be it's true? Fang Yufeng shook his head, refuting the speculation. "I don't know if it's true or not. Regardless, we will know when the time comes. I want you to bring along the glass dragon with you for this trip." Slightly startled here, the elder sounded hesitant, but the glass dragon is the sect's greatest treasure. It was left behind by our ancestor. What if the creature escapes? I fear it will bring with it a great calamity if it does. In reality, the demon beast sect had wanted to domesticate this dragon long ago, just that they couldn't due to the fierce temperament portrayed by the creature. How can I not know that? Making a wry smile, but in order to find the destined child, we can only resort to this method. Go put together the binding cage in our treasury. We will use that to keep the glass dragon at bay during this period. Yes, sect leader, the elder respectfully complied. Also, do you know why I'm going this far as to use the dragon? The man arches his lip into a smirk. Our ancestor had left behind a prophecy for us. If there's someone ever capable of taming this glass dragon, then the demon beast sect must swear allegiance to that entity when the time comes. Only by doing so will we prosper. For that prophecy, I and my predecessors have been waiting and waiting. I truly never expected I would be the one with the fortune to witness this day. I'm truly honored. His facial features had gradually turned proud and excited after reaching the end of his statement because he can now face the ancestors with no regret. Apparently this was the first time the first elder was hearing this, leaving the old one in quite the shock. Is this really true? Of course, Fang Yufeng chuckles a laugh. Otherwise why do you think I've been working so hard to practice my divination skills? It's because we must find that destined child foretold by the ancestors. The long wait by our demon beast sect is finally coming to an end. Only by taking a deep long breath did the elder manage to keep himself from being overwhelmed. I understand then. Sect leader, I swear I will bring back the child from that kingdom. Very good. Giving his fellow peer a simple nod, he didn't want any mistakes here. After you confirm the child's identity, it matters not whether if he returns with you. The only thing you must do is make sure his needs are met. Understood. Yes, sect leader. The elder finally retreats to begin the preparations. With everyone gone and only himself again, Fang Yufeng suddenly issues out a helpless sigh. I hope this is true and that everything goes well. The demon beast sect is running out of time after so many years of waiting. Ellipsis. Back over at the royal capital, Bai Yan was currently strolling through her garden when her feet was halted by two gorgeous figures. Donning a water blue dress reaching all the way to the ground, Xuanhuan's fantastic contour dyed with a pinkish glow only added color to the flowers growing here. In fact, it was like spring itself had descended upon this landscape all because of this one girl. Blue. Releasing a powerful burp, totally unbefitting of her memorizing face, Xuanhuan was grinning from head to toe. Yi, you are awesome. I'm absolutely loving the wine from this world. It's way better than what I have back at home. Like the drunken girl, Chu Yi was also swollen red in her cheeks as she dangled the wine cup along her fingers. Ho ho, you talk like you are not a person of this world or something. Chapter 250, Fight together enough and they will be friends too. I was never a person from here. It was state teacher who helped me come. State teacher, who is that? Bleary in her eyes, Chu Yi eventually topples over until her head lands fully into the flower bed behind her back. Thankfully there's no other man around, otherwise her careless yet mouth-drooling appearance would incite quite the chaos here today. State teacher. Imagining the mentioned man appearing at her call, Xuanhuan's drunken lip had curved into a smile. He is a gentleman. Even if I bully him and tease him he will never get mad at me. Oh, so that state teacher is your lover. Giggling there on the patch of greenery, Chi was nearly lost at this point. Hey now, don't start matchmaking me out of the blue. State teacher and I are clean and pure. I only, humph. Aren't you and Bai Xiao getting really close? Xuanhuan's attitude was clearly flustered here. Hold on now girl, I'm treating you to a drink and what do? You start slandering me with another man that's younger than me. Besides, he's Yan's brother. That means I have to be good to him. But you though, ha, you and that state teacher is different. He must be your boyfriend. Originally the atmosphere between the two was still fairly harmonious, but after that little bickering and competing, it quickly devolved into a brawl again. It's one thing to fight, but it's another to start tangling together until they are acting like a pair of lovers going at it in bed. Shame though. Too bad there's no male occupants to witness this hot fleshy scene. Mistress, do you want me to stop him? Hualuo's mouth started to twitch at the awkward scene. No need. To the surprise of her subordinate, Bai Yan only made a brilliant smile of approval. It's fine, they are only building up their friendship. After they finish fighting then they will stop, no need to bother their playing. Having said this, she then slowly strode past the pair and went towards the front end where she was once again stopped at the front door. This time though it was a figure getting tossed out of her neighbor's home. I haven't fallen so far that I would need to sell my own daughter. Scram you piece of filth. Immediately following this holler was Wang Diqiu coming out of his home to glare at the eunuch. Sell his daughter. Surprised by the remark, Bai Yan couldn't help but give this show some extra attention. You. The eunuch angrily climbed up and started to mouth off after his indignation. How could you be so ignorant? It's your great fortune that the royal grandson would take a liking to your daughter. You should be proud that she can be offered to His Highness as a concubine. Not to mention the crown princess is even willing to offer you a second-grade Dan pill as dowry. Ha ha. Wang Diqiu broke out into a laughing fit due to his extreme anger, as if I would need to sell my daughter for some measly pill. Let me tell you, if you don't scram now then I will beat you until you can't anymore. Sure enough, that worked and caused the eunuch to tremble with both anger and fear. His Highness the royal grandson is destined to rule the world. Don't regret it in the future and come crawling to me. Giving one last snort, the eunuch quickly scrambled away only to be attacked from behind. Bang! It was Wang Diqiu picking up a rock to throw at the fleeing bastard's head. Poor eunuch, he didn't even know what happened and was already out for the count. End of the chapter. Adorable Treasured Fox Divine Doctor Mother Overturning the Heavens will be read in 10 chapters for every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday. Please leave this sound novel and press subscribe, follow, and the bell so you don't miss any new clips as well. See you.